As well as the standard fair use policy, these videos are protected under the Treaty of Peace and Friendship 1787.
Moors are awake. We are taking our place on this planet.
Case to be called today. You didn't hear your name called?
Yes.
Who is that?
This is IL Bay. Explanation is Daniel Sally.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you, sir.
Ex-relation Daniel Sally.
Daniel Sally is your name?
That's my ex-relation. My name is Ayeli Rube.
Excuse me, Daniel Sally, but the courts will not be recognizing your bay. You did not legally change your name, so for the record, your name is Daniel Sally.
Judge, this is position 28, Daniel Sally. Well, I'll let Mr. Sally, I think, is representing himself pro se.
Well, that's not a good idea.
And
All right, Mr. Sally, you're charged in 21 CR 1124. Are you wanting to represent yourself, or do you want to see if you qualify for an attorney?
I'm presenting myself in propria persona, not pro se.
No, there's no special appearance. See, this is the problem, with all due respect to you, sir. People come on here intending to be any number of entities, agencies, or having positions. But the reality is this is going to move forward. So I'm not going to ask the question 16 different ways. I'm going to ask it the same way every time because I know I'm legally sound in doing so. So the final thing I'm going to ask you is who is going to represent you, because you will be sitting at the table by yourself, expected to answer to these charges. And if you say nothing or you say the wrong thing, you will be convicted. And if you are convicted, there is a maximum penalty associated with each count, and your liberty will be restrained.
This judge is giving this Moorish Sovereign Citizen a fair chance to change his mind about representing himself. She's giving him the opportunity to do the right thing, but will he? Probably not.
So I'm pretty sure you understand what I'm saying. I don't advise that you're doing what you're attempting to do right now. I'm just going to cut to the chase because that's all I know how to do. But people have tried it before. I don't advise that you do it. What do you want to do?
I'm a private citizen. I'm a private national. I'm not United States citizen. And I also would like to challenge the court's jurisdiction.
Don't go to court and challenge jurisdiction. Learn how to get out their jurisdiction. Just learn how to remove yourself from the jurisdiction. Then you can start doing everything as far as like exercising your rights.
So it's rather evident that this man fell asleep in class when the master teacher stated, don't go to court and challenge jurisdiction. Now, how are you going to have an effective defense for yourself when you fell asleep in class? This is clearly a losing battle for you.
Sure. Mr. Daniel Sally is charged with 1 count of possession of marijuana with intent to distribute, 1 count of possession of a firearm by a convicted felon or first offender probationer, 1 count of possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, 1 count of willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer, which is a misdemeanor, 1 count of giving a false name, address, or birth date to law enforcement, also a misdemeanor, 1 count, it looks like something to affix a license, to conceal, 1 count of disobedience of a traffic control device, 1 count of failure to maintain insurance, and 1 count of unregistered vehicle, no tag or city or decal. He has answered my call on this calendar associated with the name Daniel Eric Sally, but is using an alias. I'm going to enter a not guilty plea to each of these counts. Sir, are you going to appear and represent yourself?
Ma'am, may I ask a question?
No.
You have to answer mine first. I will not answer another question till you answer mine.
I will present myself in propria persona, in my own proper person, not pro se.
I didn't ask you if you were pro se. I said you're going to represent yourself for each of these counts, and there are 9 of them.
Am I
You're being prosecuted. Several are felonies, the others are misdemeanors. What would you like to do? Represent yourself to respond to the charges, or have someone who is trained in the law? Do you watch football, sir?
Man, no disrespect, but these charges was this was 2019, the case
See,
number.
but this is why you need an attorney, because you are stepping into an arena that, unless you've been to law school and you've specifically done this kind of law, is dangerous territory, and it could impact your liberty. I'm just gonna tell you, I don't recommend it.
This judge keeps trying to warn this knuckleheads about the danger of representing himself, but sadly, he's probably not going to listen.
We can go back and forth. Well, actually, we can't go back and forth because I'm about to be done with this. Do you want to see if you qualify to have someone represent you, or you want to do this yourself?
Ma'am, before I make the decision, I was just trying to ask you a question, just respectfully.
But you have to answer my question respectfully. Are you going to represent yourself or not? It's a yes or a no.
At this time, I'm presenting myself in propria persona.
I didn't ask you about propria persona, but I'm not going to ask again.
Then I answered your question. I will.
Okay, then you will be excused from this calendar, and you will get notice to appear for the next one. If you don't follow the court rules and you don't show up, they will pick you up and put you in custody. I'm sure you understand what that means. That's the rule for everybody. So because you want to appear as whatever entity that you are trying to appear as, and dismiss yourself from this name that is legally associated with these charges, if that's what you choose to do in whatever way you're choosing to do it, you can do so. I am telling you that I have asked you, and I've gone on the record, and so I'm legally sound in my decision to enter a not guilty plea on your behalf and to move forward with your case, because it's got to move forward, whether you want to be involved in representing yourself or not. I have to assume you want to represent yourself, because I've asked you 3 times if you wanted to see if you qualified for legal counsel. You refused to answer that question, which is your prerogative, but the case is going to move forward. So final word is, do you want to change your mind about that or not?
Ma'am, I've challenged the court's jurisdiction. It must be proven, not assumed.
Well, but you don't even know how to do that legally. You don't, technically there's a way you could do that, but you don't know how to do it because you're not doing it correctly. I've told you that too. This is not my first rodeo with somebody who's tried to do this the way you're doing it. You're not even doing it correctly. So, okay, Mr. Sally, thank you. You are excused. Case will be put on the next pre-trial calendar. Goodbye.
I must admit, I really liked this judge. She was stern but fair at the same time. She tried to warn this sovereign citizen about going down the path of representing himself, but as I stated, he probably wasn't going to listen, and I was correct. He didn't. So his fate is pretty much sealed. He's going to lose his case because he's not a lawyer. He has no idea how to properly represent himself. Therefore, he's not going to know how to really articulate a proper defense, and he is going to lose miserably.